to chirohustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 170 of the chirohustle podcast. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette. Here is your host, Jim Chester.
Today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Todd Muncy, and if you want to know more about how the body heals from inside out, stay tuned. All right, so this is episode 170 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. It says hustle here on my shirt. That guy over there, Dr. Todd Muncy, is going to be with us for the next 45 minutes to an hour discussing chiropractic. And thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Hey, I want to just, say, guys, I appreciate everything you do. I just appreciate being with you today. You guys don't have to support chiropractic like you do. But man, you are out there getting it going, and I really love it. I love that you guys are putting the message out and rocking it.
Well,
thank you.
We do it because it needs to be done. And now more than ever, it needs to be done.
It absolutely does. It does.
So in our typical fashion, we always love to let the chiropractor we're interviewing for our featured spot to be able to tell us their chiropractic story. And what influenced you to become a chiropractor. And I know that everybody has a little bit of different take on what got them into the beautiful profession of chiropractic. So if you could just give us a little bit of backstory of how you got into chiropractic and where you are today. I know off camera we just discussed you've been in chiropractic now for 2 decades.
Yes, I have. And it's a wonderful profession to be in because I've seen so many things go on in this realm that I never even expected to see when I was young and starting into this profession. But I got started into this profession from getting hurt while I was in service. I was stationed at Fort Bragg and I got hurt. And I like to tell people I don't have that cool war story that everybody else has. And that's my little joke because I was in the motor pool when I got hurt. A tire came out of a rim, or a rim came out of a tire, caught me under the neck and in the chest, and broke my neck and back in 4 places. And the Army had a couple of answers for me. Here's some Motrin and muscle relaxers. See you in a month. And that kept going and going. And the answers they kept giving me was, well, you broke it. You're just going to have to live with the pain, and you're going to have to live with everything that's going on until one day you'll just need surgery. And that was not a plan of action that I took to real well. And I wanted to get out of that realm and move into something. So I decided to go back to college after I got out of the service and try to find a way to get sick people well without drugs and surgery. Now you got to understand in the early 90s and stuff, chiropractic, wasn't in its infancy, but it still had that, some people had the idea that chiropractic wasn't relevant or wasn't, a useful tool, and it was becoming more and more popular. Well, I wanted to go to med school. I didn't want to become a chiropractor. I wanted to figure out how to get sick people well without drugs and medicine through med school. And I woke up one morning and just couldn't function. I mean, literally could not function. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't bend, twist. Breathing was hard. My stomach was upset. Everything was messed up. And one of my friends said, go visit a chiropractor, suck it up and do it. And I was resistant. I was like, I'm not doing that craziness. Those people, I don't know. And because my degree was in science and biology sciences, so I'm looking at it from that kind of medical standpoint, going, I don't know. But I went. And when I did, the young chiropractor that took care of me, I can remember she was a small female with blonde hair. And the first adjustment I got, my entire body started to relax. Now, I wasn't fixed by any means, and it wasn't perfect. But again, I was in the service for a long time, and I got hurt pretty bad, and I had some PTSD, and I hadn't slept for months, for a whole night. 3-4 hours was a lot at that time. I was able to sleep that whole night and that evening. She asked me to come back, and then she explained to me the chiropractic story. And when she explained to me the chiropractic story, the simple philosophy of above, down, inside out, one of the greats in the profession, Sid Williams, preached that 100,000 times. That struck a chord in my soul, being a biological science major. I was like, whoa, that makes absolute sense. What? Above, down, inside out. The body heals from above, down, inside out. Oh, I got to investigate this. So I started doing my research and looking into it, and I decided med school wasn't for me, man. I'm going to chiropractic school, and the rest is history.
Wow. That's it's empowering to listen to other people's testimony of how chiropractic inspired them. And listening to your story, there's a lot of people out there that are in the service now that need chiropractic. And there's
Absolutely.
people that are veterans, they're active, and they need chiropractic. And
Go ahead.
no, I think that it's essential, like you're saying, that we get into these cases before they become too far gone, where people have to say, well, I'll try the chiropractor.
You're right. We have got to, get in there and start promoting the chiropractic message like you're doing with these podcasts, because so many service members are suffering needlessly. We've got guys every day leaving this earth because they're suffering from the scars of combat. And not because of combat, it's after combat. PTSD is real. And it affects the whole body. It affects the neurological system. And as chiropractors, if we can interfere with that process, just, relax the nerve system and allow their bodies to start to function normally, at least take that much pressure off, we're helping those people a lot. And, they suffer from injuries that the tough "I'm a soldier," mantra in their mind is, I'm not going to take care of, because the soldier's idea of "I'm hurt" that's weakness. And we've got to let them know that's not weakness. We can work with that, and you don't have to suffer like that. There's so many of them out here. And me as a chiropractor, I serve those guys gladly because I was one of their brothers. I knew what they went through, and I know what I went through. And we have to get out there and serve these guys daily. Now, the world is changing, and the VA has actually put chiropractors in there, but they're so overwhelmed because of the paperwork and because of the amount of veterans that need us. They've got these guys, in some cases for years strung out on opioids. And we all know where that's been going for the last few years, right? I mean, they prescribe medications just to keep them at bay. And from my story, you hear that's the one thing that I was not about to do. That was not an option. Pain medication until I need surgery? No. And we've done this to these guys for years, and they absolutely need us to step up, lead, and start leading the charge to help get them well.
Well, you said some things there that made you excited my brain a little bit. And you said something about Sid Williams. And who are your other chiropractic mentors and like guys that you looked up to as you were coming into the profession, and maybe today, like as you've progressed into who you are today? Like who's impacted your career?
Well, Eric Plasker, a guy that you guys interviewed just not too long ago, he has been one of the biggest blessings in my life because, as a young chiropractor, I'm coming into the profession. I'm feeling my way out and trying to figure out how to market myself and put myself out there. And I wanted people to live a healthy life. I wanted people to, live long. And I knew that there was, that ability to do it, but I didn't know how to communicate it. And Eric came along and taught me about the 100-year lifestyle and how to move people forward into that, and understanding that, we're going to live a lot longer than we ever thought we would. And that, having our body free of nerve interference is going to help us to grow and to stay healthy 10, 20, 30 years and beyond. Another one of my heroes was, this is kind of funny because I remember how he spoke to us in school when he would come and speak, was Fred Barge. I don't know if you guys heard of him or remember him or have seen any of his stuff, but Fred was a chiropractic philosopher that some thought were crazy. But he was crazy like a fox. This is one of the smartest men I knew, and I used to love to hear him say fledgling chiropractors as he talked to us and explained to us how the body works. He was so intuitive, and he understood in his own way and his own mind how this body functioned. And he would try to ingrain that into us. And he was so strong in his philosophy. I only wished I could be like that some days. That was the one of the strongest men I'd ever seen, next to Sid Williams. Yeah, he was a powerful individual to listen to. Some doctors in our profession say, that's the old guys there to look. If we could all stick to that philosophy every day, wow, would this profession explode.
So throughout your 20 years of practice, have you collected any favorite motivational quotes or words of wisdom that you live by? Any mantras?
My biggest one is above, down, inside out, the hole in one, Sid Williams. The body heals from above, down, inside out. When that young chiropractor adjusted me and she explained that to me, it made sense, but it really hadn't sunk in. When Sid Williams was doing a talk at the school like he normally did once a week, he dropped the keys. And I had no idea. Sid, what are you doing with those keys, man? Come on. But then he explained the above, down, inside out principle, and it all made sense. That it happens every time the same way. It's guaranteed to happen. And the body does the same thing. It's guaranteed to happen. That brain's going to fire, signals going to go down that nerve system, and it's going to start activating, systems in the body and make them work to the best of their ability.
I love that. I go out and do marketing for chiropractors, and there's been many times where somebody says, I don't believe in chiropractic, and I say, hey, whoever's working with me, give me the keys. And I get the keys and I jangle them. And I drop them to the ground. I said, chiropractic, just like gravity, works whether you believe it or not. You don't have to believe in chiropractic for it to help you.
That's right. I didn't believe in it at first, but what are you believing in? Do you believe you're alive? Do you believe your body works? Well, how does it work? Why does it work that way? We spend so much time trying to heal this thing from the outside in that we forget it works on its own from the inside out.
And wait till a chiropractor adjusts you and lights you up and turns your lights on.
That's right.
And lets your body function better. Then that is a feeling. It's not a belief.
You're right. And when you ask me what are some of the mantras I live by, this is one of my favorites. And I say this a lot, is that modern medicine is the science of what causes the person to die. Chiropractic is the science of what causes the person to live. That's where we make the difference. We're not looking for the things that are going to let you die one day. We're looking for the things that we can fix to help you live the best life you're ever going to live. Get rid of the interference. Everything we do in life is about what? Interference or lack thereof, right? If a body's subluxated, that's our word we use, misaligned, there's not good nerve flow going through the body, there's lack of communication. What happens when we have lack of communication? We start to dysfunction. We start to not be able to get along with things. And that's just the simple way of putting it. But lack of communication in the body, starts to have systems fail. Starts to allow us to get sick, to have the things that we don't like to have. And when we improve that communication, the body can act exactly the way it was designed to do. Above, down, inside out. Heal on its own. It's a miraculous device we have, a tool that we live inside of that works whether we expect it to or not. It's pretty cool.
That's why they say the number one doctor is the one inside of you.
That's the only doctor, to be honest with you. We strive in healthcare to, try to heal people and be the healers. And the actual statement is the person's the healer. The person is a healing machine. Our job is to remove the interference and let it do its thing.
Find it, fix it, leave it alone.
Leave it alone. It's that simple. And sometimes we try our best to complicate it.
So how do you think the world would change if everyone got under consistent chiropractic care?
Well, I know we wouldn't be running around going a virus. We'd be running around going, hey, man, I feel good. I'm doing great. Man, I think the world would change for the positive. Because you know what? Nerve interference adds negative emotion into your body. It's a negative influence inside your body, and that can change your attitude by getting the power turned back on. Because, some people go to chiropractic because they hurt. When you hurt, do you feel good? Do you want to be around people? Do you want to do things? No, you really start to, self-absorb or get drawn inside your own self at that point. And if we can relieve that alone, that can change the outlook that you have on the world, your daily life, and the way you, relate to other people. I think that if everybody in the world was under chiropractic care, it'd be a better place to live.
Like BJ's Utopia.
Oh, absolutely. You read the green books, and BJ says some things that still go over my head.
Well, I think that people need a roadmap to success sometimes. And the chiropractic profession definitely needs a roadmap to success. And when we think about like a chiropractic utopia, there's still people out there with a dogmatic mindset like you once had that, why would I go see them?
Yeah. And you know what? Why would you go see us? Only because you want to function better? Maybe you want to heal better? Maybe you want to feel better? Maybe you just want to live life better. That's why you want to go see us. There's still always going to be part of that. And as chiropractors, we need to get out there and change it. And I think that I heard Eric talk the other day about there are different chiropractors for different people too. And we have to understand that. And, we tend to want to rush to judgment when somebody comes into our offices and it's not working out real well, and rush them right over to medicine. But if I don't turn them, into a chiropractic patient, I'm dooming them to a life of medicine. And I'd prefer not to do that. We need to start, if we're, referring inside to chiropractic and getting people to understand that this works this way. But we're about willing to give up our philosophy to say, hey, it's not working, move to this. And that keeps that idea that why should I go to a chiropractor alive? I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes it simple and easy to understand. Chiropractic is going to help everybody, but it's going to help everybody differently. And not all chiropractors are going to help all people the same way. There are different chiropractors have different techniques that work better for this person or that person, and we need to keep it in-house. It needs to be chiropractor, refer to chiropractor, and then maybe refer to medicine. Because there's chiropractic works always. Remember that like I said, we talked about the keys. Gravity's always there, whether you believe in it or not. Chiropractic always works. That technique we use may not work on that person, but that other technique will.
Let me ask you a little bit deeper question, because I know that this has come up in our personal worlds before. Mm-hmm. What would your advice be to somebody that has an aversion from hearing their neck have a release when they get adjusted?
Well, I handle that a couple of different ways. If the person's up to it, and we can talk about, hey, we can adjust that and we can do it with a different technique. We can use something called activator. We don't always have to get that loud pop, but I explain to them what that is, that cavitation noise they hear. It's a joint that is surrounded by tissue and fluid, and that joint is a concave and convex surface. And that concave and convex surface, when it gets approximated too close, kind of gets a little vacuum to it. And what you're hearing when we release that is that little vacuum releasing from the joint. So it's really, not as big of an issue as people think it is. And I explained to them that we're not twisting your neck off or trying, and that noise you hear is not the bone cracking. It's just a release of that vacuum that sets on those bones. But there are different techniques for different people. And, you can use a toggle recoil. We have that technique, and that's a light force technique. Doesn't create that loud popping noise. There are many different things. You can use blocking, SOT style work. There's so many different techniques out there. So we try to work with them. Myself, I'm versed in about 7 or 8 of those techniques. So I like to be that way in case that patient walks into my office. I want to make sure that they get the best care they can. And if they're afraid to have their neck popped, you like that statement, neck pop? I prefer they don't want to have their neck adjusted because they're afraid of the pop. I'll change techniques and give them a better route that suits them the best. Because sometimes if the patient's afraid, or most of the time, if they're scared and resistant, it's going to hamper the way we adjust them, and it's going to hamper the ability of the adjustment to do its job.
Yeah, I think it's all about good communication. And I think that sometimes people do have an aversion from what they've been told or what they might think. And
Right.
And their mind is the above atlas subluxation is their biggest concern.
I love that you said the above atlas subluxation, because it takes me back to Nell Williams, Sid's wife. While we were in school, and it's a great story, she told me that the biggest subluxation that you kids have as students today is the atlas and above atlas subluxation. She said nothing's getting beyond that. We need to open that up. And she told me, it was kind of neat. She told me, son, I'll toggle you so well that your brain can't help but make the rest of your body work right. That was pretty neat to listen, to have that come from that little silver-haired lady that was, such a beautiful personality to have around when you were going through school. It was, and another philosophical genius, Nell Williams. Awesome lady.
So how do you see chiropractic developing and evolving in the next 20 years going on?
You know what? I see it growing immensely. I see with doctors like Eric Plasker, Dr. Axe, a bunch of others out there, that a lot of them you guys interviewed, they're, going out and getting the message of chiropractic out to the world. There were shirts done not too long ago about the 10%. If we can get over that 10%, I think we've achieved that 10%. If we can get over that 20%, we're moving forward. Our message has to keep moving forward, because we're looking at times right now when the world is looking for something. This whole problem we have going on right now in the world with the virus and things like that, people are looking for answers. They're totally confused on what's going on. And as chiropractors, if we keep on our track of talking about how the body heals itself, how the body functions, get kids into school, start teaching them the facts about the immune system, the nerve system, doing the research, I see this profession growing and growing and growing, and more chiropractors coming out there, to the extent at which we are eye to eye in numbers alone with modern medicine. And on that plane where people will go, I'm going to the chiropractor before I go to medicine. I'm seeing that change now. That's the really neat thing when we think about that. I'm seeing that now. Most of the patients that walk through my office, I don't want to take medicine. I don't want to go to the medical doctor. What are they going to do? They're going to give me drugs and surgery. Now, that some cases that's absolutely necessary. And that is something that I'm not going to sit here and say not necessary, but in some cases it becomes necessary. But we have become a nation that was relying upon crisis care. And you're starting to see people go, wait a minute, I'm going to be in this body for a long time. It's time to quit patching the holes. It's time to fix the whole road. It's time to fix the whole car, quit changing the tires, put it back in alignment. And they're coming in with that attitude. Whole families. I do family chiropractic. You guys know that I do sports chiropractic too, because I take care of an entire college football team and all their other sports as well. I'm seeing more and more people come to chiropractors because they want to function better over the long haul and not wait until a problem arises. And that's where our profession needs to head. We need to quit doing the symptomatic care, the care, which that's a big part, and we still need to do it, but that doesn't need to be our primary focus.
Well, Dr. Todd, I think a lot of that perception happened through advertising.
It
And
does.
that's really how it happened, was because it's not the big book for alcoholics. It's the big book for advertising is where it all happened. It was the big book for Yellow Pages.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how chiropractors or anybody in that arena would advertise back in that era. And that's how the perception of reality was, because what did every home depend on? A phone.
That's right.
When you had a concern, you'd go through alphabetical order and you'd see chiropractor, who has the biggest ad, who spent the most money. Well, what did they talk about? Car crashes, pain, slips and falls, workman's comp, things like that. And that became the narrative. You're just going to go to the chiropractor because they're going to get reimbursed by the insurance companies. And now what we see, and as we've interviewed hundreds upon hundreds of people, we realize that people will pay for what they value. You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, Chiro Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing right there. And what we're seeing is a population of people now valuing health. And you notice I said the word health. Not valuing sickness, but valuing health. People are now coming out, and if we, send our advertising into that market now about health and promotion of health and well-being and lifestyle, because we're seeing families come through my door and they're not going, hey, I don't want to get sick. They're saying, I want to stay healthy. And that's our motivation. But, the neck ache, backache, and strain has become the prominent, mantra throughout the Mercedes 80s is what I like to call it. Back in the day, you got a crick or a sprain, come on in and visit us. When somebody comes in and says, hey, I got a crick in my neck, I say, well, the Department of Engineers handles the cricks and strains. We handle health. That's my Southern way of dealing with it. But yeah, I really am excited about the profession moving into this lifestyle care for everyone. Wellness, well-being. Let's not wait for a crisis to come into our household. Let's take care of our body now, so when crisis does come, we can handle it better.
Well, it's like seeing somebody adjusting a baby. Like the baby doesn't have to talk.
No.
But you see when somebody adjusts a baby that's on a video, how the baby chills out.
Oh, that's you just hit a really high note for me. Got me excited because I had a baby come into this office once. And this is a neat story. You'll love it. This baby came in. The mom said, you got to help me. And I said, well, what's going on? She said, well, I've been to every doctor, and this child will not go to the bathroom. She's impacted. Okay, we're talking 3 months old. 3 months old. This child hadn't been to the bathroom in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Her pediatrician was giving her, I can't think of what it was right now, but a form of milk of magnesia, and trying to get it to relax the colon so the baby go to the bathroom. Baby's not going to the bathroom. And her mom had been a patient of mine, and I hadn't seen her in a little bit, and she came in with the baby. So when I checked her, found a subluxation in her thoracic spine, just getting down to about T11, in that area, T10, T11. And I said, Mom, this is probably what's going on. And she said, well, do something. I just want her fixed. Okay, now she had been through antibiotics, drops for, constipation, all this stuff. And we checked her. Well, so when I checked this child, she just relaxed on my table. And I said, Mom, we cleared the subluxations. I handed her back. She said, well, what's going to happen? I said, I don't know. Let's hope it clears up, because I know I removed the interference and what's going on. Well, 15 minutes later, I was in the room with just another baby, and mom came in back in the office and said, Dr. Muncy, I am going to beat you. And I was like, oh God, here we go. This is not good. What happened? And she said, you're going to clean the car seat and the car. This child left this office when she got her in the car seat, put her in, and as soon as she did that, she flooded that car seat and the seat of the car. And mom was kind of upset but happy that it happened. And we took care of that baby up until just about a year ago. I think they've moved. And she done well all that time after that, was never constipated after that or anything. Neat story. Never really got sick to the point at which she ever had to go to the doctor or be hospitalized either from that point forward. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it chills out the nervous system. It allows people's body to go back into a state of ease.
What was going on with that child is her colon was so restricted and so wound up because her nerve system was so irritated from the birthing process that all we had to do is remove that one subluxation, let that nerve system relax, and that baby started going and let it go. And that's exactly what happens with when you open the floodgates. Nerve flow turns on and everything gets hyper excited, and here we go. I told her mom it's happy days.
How old is she now?
Oh, gosh. Let me think. I think she's about 16 now.
Oh, wow.
It's been a while.
The shitty good story.
It's been a minute.
Oh, I got so many great stories of how people heal and how people do. And, they're documented. I document this stuff whenever the patient comes in and in their files. Patients with asthma attacks coming in with almost cyanotic, they're struggling to breathe. They've used their inhaler 5 and 6 times, not getting air in their lungs. We adjust them. We remove the interference, and guess what they do? They take in the biggest gasp of air and start breathing. How amazing is that? And I still get excited about it to this day. I get giddy almost whenever we talk about stuff like that because the passion that I have for watching people heal. Notice, it's not about me healing people. It's about watching them heal, about watching their bodies function the way they were designed to do and be the best they can be. Get away from symptoms. Symptoms are just symptoms. They tell us there's a problem. Don't tell us what the problem is. Let's get about how you function, how your body works.
Well, when you correct the subluxation, one of my favorite ways to talk about this is if you cut your finger, you don't have to look at your finger and tell it to heal.
No.
It just heals up because that's what your body does. So when you take the vertebrae and you correct that subluxation, now you let the body heal, and you don't have to tell it to heal itself. It just does what it's supposed to because you took the pressure off of it.
And you don't have to give it something and start shutting off systems. The neat thing about the human body is it learns. A lot of people look at me crazy when I say that. The body learns. If you tell it not to get a fever 100 times, guess what it'll stop doing? Getting a fever. What's a fever good for? Kills things inside of you. The body knows exactly what temperature that virus can tolerate. It puts the temperature up there. What do? We tell it to quit. Here, stop that. We don't feel good. It doesn't feel great. So as we get older, we stop having fevers as much as we did when we were a kid. Our body doesn't defend against these viruses as well as it did when we were younger. People just say, well, I'm getting older. No, you taught your body not to function. Let's reverse that process. Let's start reversing that at young kids. Let's not give them everything under the sun. Let's work with their body to heal their body. Let their body do what it's designed to do. Fix itself.
So on the topic of marketing and advertising, I know before the show you said you did some television spots.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorite things to do. We have a program in this area called, there's several of them, Daytime Tri-Cities, quite a few others. And I like to get myself on those shows and do a 5-minute talk about what's going on in the world or in health. And that gives me the opportunity to get out there and get the message out and get people to start understanding chiropractic I don't like to talk a lot about sickness and pain and things like that. I like to talk about function and wellness and well-being and lifestyle. And it gives me that avenue. I also like to use Facebook. I like to get out there and do some advertising on Facebook too. Because that's a great way to draw people in. When people are seeking out help, do you realize what time of day it is? Usually when they're looking for help?
Nighttime.
They're sitting around in the middle of the night going, man, I am miserable. I cannot stand this. I'm tired of dealing with this. Or they're stressed out. Their body just isn't functioning, can't sleep, and there all these different things going on. Stress is high, heart rate's high, and they get on Facebook or on the internet and they start scrolling. And then they see, hey, not sleeping well, not functioning well, and bam, they start looking at it, and there they go. And that's a great time to advertise for people. Every time I've done Facebook advertising, I noticed that most of the leads that came in, guess what time they came in?
After 5 p.m.
After 5 p.m. And, if you're getting out there with a wellness message, that's what they want to hear. That's the group of people that want to hear it.
Here's a fun question. We've never asked this one. I just made it up. What's the worst marketing tactic you've ever tried?
I got a couple of those. I think the worst one I ever tried was door knocking. It worked for opening a practice, but it really probably wasn't the best thing I ever did. Newspaper ads. Ooh. Years ago when newspaper ads, you could do a newspaper ad. It was great, but you had to spend so much money to get so little return on that ad that wasn't the best thing that I ever did. Trying to do it on my own in most cases was probably a bad idea too. There are guys out here that, and you guys know this real well, that do marketing and know how to do it well. And every time I've tried to manage it on my own and do it my way, that was probably my worst marketing idea.
Well, what happens, Dr. Todd, is from our experiences, chiropractors have to learn how to become marketers and promoters first. Then they have to learn how to become chiropractors and adjusters and facilitators of health second. And then they have to learn how to run the business on the back end of all of that. So you have to understand that becoming a chiropractor, you have to wear many hats. And that's why you should always, consider trusting professionals, because you probably experienced that if you don't pay a professional the right way, you spend 10 times as much working with somebody that doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
I've had that experience, and I had that experience with advertising with someone who wasn't knowledgeable about the chiropractic field. But they were knowledgeable on Facebook and things of that nature. Well, guess what? That doesn't work out real well. That works out for other businesses, but that doesn't work out for the chiropractic business. It doesn't drive the same clientele in, and it doesn't do that. And yes, having professionals out there that know how to write the wording, know how to put things out there in the right tone and fashion, and are, in tune with what the market is doing at that moment is a wonderful adjunct to any chiropractic office. And I tend to like to use that. My second best way of marketing myself is in-house. That is something that I do well, is in-house marketing. But I'm not touching those people out here that I've never seen before.
Well, it's all the old school systems. That's where they teach people how to build a business, building with internal referrals. After visit 7, say, hey, do you know anybody that I can help? Here's 4 cards, pass them out.
But that becomes harder and harder and harder, because that patient's here for guess who? Themselves. And I found that out over time. I talk to my patients about chiropractic, and if they're going to refer to me, they're going to refer from the education they got from day 1 and day 2. It's going to be that drives them to motivate someone else, or the results they get. Me asking and handing out cards, that that's a hard one, that I've
Like
found.
knocking doors.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's knocking doors again. And I have found that getting my message out there with a great website and getting, someone that markets outside of, my website and doing that as well, and putting all that together in one social media package tends to help me grow faster than anything.
So what's your favorite way to stay in touch with your patients?
Right now I use, gosh, I'll think of the name of it here in a minute. My Chiro Touch actually has a program built into it, my software system that keeps in touch with the patient, will text them. But we use, I just lost the name of that.
So you use a texting app.
I use a texting app and I use an email app.
MailChimp.
MailChimp, there you go. I just didn't want to say it because I knew that it wouldn't come out of my mouth correctly, and you may have to bleep that out of the whole show.
We don't censor here.
So yeah, I use MailChimp and I use the text app on my program right now. But that's still limited. But it keeps the patients engaged. It keeps them understanding what's going on in the world. We are a wellness lifestyle practice. You guys know, like I said, you know Eric pretty well because you interviewed him, and I've worked with Eric for years. Being under that hood of the 100-year lifestyle and being an independent practitioner is one of the most amazing things because, I have all of that marketing to go with other things that I do. And everything we do in this office is about that 100-year lifestyle, living your best 100, living in a body that's going to continue on and on and on, and living it the best you can live it. Free of interference, functioning at 100%. That's our goal. I've often been asked by patients that come in that say, what do you mean function at 100%? I've got this and this, and there's no way I can function at 100% anymore. I said, well, why don't we just function at 100% of what you got left? Wouldn't that be ideal? And they look at me and smile and go, I figured you'd have an answer to that. And I said, well, that's the truth. Don't you want to function at 100% of what you got left?
That's brilliant.
So let's talk about you personally a little bit. What other podcasts do you like listening to? What books are you reading? And what are some of your hobbies?
Well, I'll tell you guys, I'm a geek when it comes to reading books. I read tech manuals and reports. I'm a numbers kind of guy. You guys know me already. I'm a numbers kind of guy. When it comes to somebody wanting to do research or things like that, I dig into what they've done or what they've studied and how they studied it and the numbers, and I just go through that. So I'm kind of a geek when it comes to things like that. I like to read mystery novels and things like that. When I do read, have time to sit down and read. I like things that challenge my brain a little bit and keep me moving forward. Hobbies. Wow. Well, one of my biggest, I like to shoot guns. I'm a Southern chiropractor, guys. I'm just going to put it out there. That makes some of our friends proud to hear me say that. But I also like to whitewater raft and kayak and paddle. That's my ultimate go-to, is being on the water. If I can go there, life is peaceful, and the world just comes to a center right there when I'm on the water by myself, just listening to nature and going down the creek. It's one of the things I love to do the most.
So let me do a quick bonus round with you.
Go for it.
You had a Chiro student and you're on an elevator with them for 6 floors. What would be the number one piece of advice you'd give them?
Look, stick to your values. Make sure you understand your values. Never waver from the principle that you've been taught, because the world is going to try to take you down off of that and try to convince you that that's not how the body works, but that's exactly how it works. The minute you waver is the minute the influences come in that you don't want in your practice and in your life. Stick to your guns, because what we do works. No matter what. Believe in it, don't believe in it. Drop the keys. Gravity's always going to work.
Are you a BJ Palmer guy or a DD Palmer guy?
I'm a BJ kind of guy. So that sounded bad, didn't it? I'm a BJ Palmer kind of guy. So, yeah, I'm a BJ Palmer kind of guy, coming out of that philosophy.
I have to ask, how many guns do you have?
Too many. About 30. I don't have too many. I could buy about 30 more and be just as happy.
So people,
my years in the military, I love to shoot. I just like to shoot things. And it's pleasurable to me to hit the target. And this is what I like to do. And I guess that goes into my life too, because you guys have been with me through some serious things that we did together. And can I talk about that on here? The Men of Iron.
Go for it.
I'm 54 years old, and I had a target that I wanted to achieve. And I went out there, and then you guys notice I don't quit. I like to go for it, and I like to hit the target. And that was one of the targets I wanted to hit. And I made sure that I got there, and I got it done. And, that has been a blessing to me as well, having, that life guidance, so to speak, of understanding who I am and how deeply things are ingrained into my personality and my lifestyle that helps me express myself better with others and have healthier relationships. And that's in business, in body, in being, balance with family and friends. That was one of those targets I had to hit, and I hit, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm proud to be a part of that.
Well, it's impressive to see the level of accountability all of us brothers have for each other and how we look out for each other and we support each other.
Absolutely. And, in chiropractic, that we need that to happen. We need to come together, support one another, build each other up, lift each other up, get the message out there, put people in others' offices, grow this profession. The more of us there are, the stronger we become. McDonald's and Burger King build on the same corner for a reason. Because they know where people go where people go. And if they're both there, they spend less money advertising and people are going to come. This line's going to be full. That one's going to be open. There's a reason they build on the same block. There's a reason why they have similar advertising, because they know. And we as chiropractors, when we come together and we're strong as one unit and one powerful group, the world will change. The world will change.
So where do people go if they want to support you or send you a message, say hi, or learn more about you?
Well, they can go to MuncyFamilyChiropractic.com. That's one place they can go. They can catch me on Facebook under, Dr. Todd Muncy. We got the messenger there. They can call me. I'm not going to throw that out there, but actually, yeah, they you can. I mean, it's I'm open to anybody that has a question or wants to get, involved into chiropractic. I'm into trying to, get young students and young minds changed. I teach at King University. I'm constantly, getting the message of chiropractic lifestyle, wellness, well-being out to these students and changing lives. As a matter of fact, one of the kids whose lives I touched through that, ability to teach and be there is actually coming in now to be my associate.
That's
so
awesome.
He went to Life University, and now he's coming out to become an associate and work with me and hopefully partner and grow and keep this practice growing and keep chiropractic growing.
That's awesome.
Well, Dr. Todd, this pretty much brings us to the end of the interview. I want to thank you for coming on the show with us.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share my story and share my time with you. Hopefully, you liked the interview. It was good, and people enjoy your podcast. I really do. I love to watch you guys and listen to them when I'm even, driving down the road. So keep up the good work. Keep chiropractic on the forefront. And guys, we're going to be in it together for a long, long time. I appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate you too. We want you to have a good day. Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.